Okay, good evening and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun to lean on today's simon and Shulchan Aruch Yomi is Kuf Peiches 188. I want to jump to the last halacha today, halacha Yud, which talks about if you're eating, which happens very frequently, you're eating shalosh Shabbos, you start shalosh Shabbos before Shkia, which you're supposed to do, and you eat a kazayis of bread before Shkia. So technically, even though you continue eating and you have a long shalosh Shabbos, you could even be singing, you know, um, Kayechsof or singing whatever song you're singing. Um, Even when the lights are out, some Hasidic places they turn the lights out. It could be 3 hours after of Zilberberg or something like that. One of these rabbis in Yerushalayim, he has like shalashas for like 3 hours. So nonetheless, when you bench after 3 hours, it's already Motei Shabbos for 2 hours after Rabbeinu Tam. What do you say in Berkas Hamazon? You say say, even though it's not Shabbos anymore, but you started the meal on Shabbos. Now the problem the poskim talk about, Mishabura talks. So let's say Motei Shabbos happens to be Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is Sunday. Motei Shabbos Sunday. So what do you do then? If you ate a little bit before Shkia and you ate some bread after Shkia, what do you do? Right? So some posts, so you can't say both Ritzei and, because if you say Ritzei, it means your meal was on Shabbos. If you say Yalav Yov Rosh Chodesh, it means your meal, right? You're attributing your meal to Motei Shabbos. So which one is it? So the Mishnah Berurah recommends if you do this, right, you're not supposed to do this. Most people will tell you avoid the situation. Make sure not to eat any bread after Shkia, on my Rosh Hashanah until after 20 minutes after Shkia. Make sure. People are machmer on this. If you happen to do this, the Mishnah Berurah says you would say Rosh Chodesh. You would say Yalav Yavo. You would not say Shabbos. The reason being is that this halacha Yud, that you go after the beginning of the meal, is machlokas in the Rishonim. Do you go after the beginning of the meal? Everyone agrees you go after the end of the meal. Meaning if you ate bread after, let's say, Tzeis, whatever Tzeis is, so, it's 35 minutes after Shkia, or 13 minutes after Shkia, whatever it is. I'll talk about that coming up in Hilchos Shabbos, but whenever, or Hilchos Ma'ariv, whenever Tzeis is, so everyone agrees if you ate bread at that point, then you're obligated to say Yalav Yava for that point, for that Rosh Chodesh, to say that's the day of Rosh Chodesh. So even though you're led to believe that really the main time that's Koveya the bracha, what do you say in Berkas Hamazon is the beginning of your meal, that's really a Machlokes Rishonim. But all the Rishonim agree that you go after the Sofa Suda. This is what they don't tell you. So what's a svara? So technically what you should do is, and this is what Mishnah Berurah says, that if you ate a kazayas of bread before Shkia, and a kazayas bread after Shkia, or after Seis maybe, so then you would only say one. You'd only say Rosh Chodesh. You can't say both. It's hard to disasser. It's a contradiction. So you would say Rosh Chodesh because everyone agrees you should be saying, you should be including Birkas Hamazon for the end of your meal. Now, why is this true? Right? Why is this true? And I would say you can rely on this Lechatchila, right? The Mishnah Berurah writes this is what you should do. So you don't have to be so machmir and make sure not to eat any bread after Shkia. Eat your bread after Shkia and just mention Rosh Chodesh. You don't have to be more machmir than the Mishnah Berurah tells you to be machmir. So, but what's the reason behind this halacha? Why is it a machlokes rishonim at the beginning? But back at the end, everyone agrees if you eat a kazayas after seis, then for sure you are chayav to say Birkas Hamazon based on the end of your meal. The reason is very simple because the pasuk says v'chalta v'savato v'rachta, right? When are you benching? If you eat a kazayas, right, it's only chiv d'rabbanan. I said it's not a chiv at all. I had a different mashal kazayas kibetza, right, about eating dessert, only a full meal of dessert. You say Birkas Hamazon. Not even regular svia. You have to have dessert, a fancy dessert, a cocktail, and a beautiful creme brulee for your dessert. But it has to be v'savata to be chayv midaraisa according to everybody. So the bracha, right? If you're eating kazayas and then you're eating kazayas at the end of your meal, when are you stopping your meal? Usually people stop eating when they're satisfied. When are you satisfied? At the end of your meal. So the bracha is on this being satisfied. That's where we're thanking Hashem for the plenty that He gave us. That's where we're thanking Hashem. If you only eat kazayas, it's only chayv midarabbanan. So when you have that instance where you eat a kazayas before Shkia and then you eat a kazayas after Shkia, which presumably is the end of your meal, right? So the svia happened after Shabbos was over. So therefore, you treat the day as Rosh Chodesh as the bracha should be going on the svia, right? Being satisfied, because that's the chiyuv midaraisa. The only question is, do we also reckon the beginning of your meal, right? Like if you on a regular shalosh, that's where you started eating, right? do we mention Ritzei over there? Because really, your Sevilla, right, what happened on Motzei Shabbos, but your Achila, part of Achalta V'Savata, to get to your Sevilla, eating Kazayat or Kavitz is Rabbanan, according to most poskim. So, in order to get to your Sevilla, part of your Sevilla, the beginning of your Sevilla, happened on Shabbos. So therefore, it would be enough. So Machlokes Rishonim, is that good enough to warrant saying Ritzei for that? We paskin it is, right? But if you have a contradiction, you go after the Sevilla, right? When you became satiated, because that's the real time as Koveya, why and when you should be saying Birkas Hamazon. That's just a svara that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know if the Rishonim say this, but to me it makes a lot of sense. Hope you enjoyed tonight's share. See you in the next one.